We have had a catastrophic rain event. It's definitely a 100-year flood. And we're 30 kilometres from Lismore by river anyway, 20 kilometres by road. And they had a 14-metre rise on the river, 2 metres, a whopping 2 metres over the previous record. There's 900 to 1,000 houses that are going to have to be demolished because they're so wrecked by the floodwater. It went right over the roofs. People's lives are ruined by this event. There's a massive, massive flood recovery going on right now with thousands of people. It looks like a war zone. There's helicopters going over all the time. The army are involved. It's really, really a huge rain event. We recorded 775 millimetres in 24 hours. 1 hour alone was 180 millimetres. That is absolutely huge. So we've got a car coming down the road. He's going to come past us. And everybody's trying to recover somehow. So we're in the headwater creeks where they converge down towards the floodplain of Lismore. All of these creeks were coming in with that massive volume of water and they bottlenecked there at Lismore, and that flood event went up that huge volume. How did Zaytuna Farm handle that event? Well, let's go and have a look. The spillway's still going over, and this is one of our main catchment dams. This is Tinker's Bubble. It's one of our main irrigation dams actually. And there are two main catchments on Zaytuna Farm, this one and Conorigan Road, and we concentrate them towards the Central Valley. So here, although we have a really good swale spillway connection to the next dam, the spillway just couldn't take the enormous amount of water coming off the hill country, and it came up over the dam wall. You can see the flood patterns here, the flow patterns of the water rushing through here. So normally that will actually breach a dam wall and cut it away, but we have this really good clumping bamboo plantation here, and what's happened is a little bit of topsoil's gone and you get the skin of like a carpet of bamboo roots, and it's held it together perfectly. So without the emergency spillway in position, with the top end of the wall and the water going over the top, the bamboo just was the perfect solution, and it was here and well established. But that went on down to the next dam, and it hit the next dam with a big thump. Let's go and have a look at what happened right here. So this is actually a farm track, but it's not been mowed for obvious reasons. We're having a job to get in here at the moment, this much water. But our main irrigation dam, Tinker's Bubble, is just above us where I've just left. Coming down here, I come to a set of dams. Fish Pond here, we call Tambuk overflows and goes under this track with a crossing pipe into a dam called Mudhole, appropriately. And that's the big overload. It got hit by the overload off Tinker's Bubble. It was already getting fed by Tambuk. The dribbler pipe here in Mudhole wall couldn't take it, and it cut right out and took all that material down to the next dam, where it stopped, luckily, in the Fern Gully Dam below, a dam called Fern Gully. Now, there's no emergency spillway in this section, and it's one of the only two dams that doesn't have an emergency spillway here. It was really built with a co-joined spillway to handle a 20-year event. It couldn't handle the 100-year event. We can design that to change. But right now, we've got a little bit of luck. It didn't cut the dam wall out, it cut the spillway out. And it's the spillway material between the two dams. Luckily, we can rebuild this, and then we can demonstrate how you handle one of these 100-year events. So here's the cut. I've straddled the cut. It's wider at the top where it first went over with volume and pressure, and then as the pressure went down, it's just a narrow little cut here. And that's the lost material with the erosion down there. The crossing pipe's still running, the spillway above us is still running, the dribbler pipe's well left high and dry. So this is the most damage we've ever had to withstand at Zaytuna Farm. Here we are. Well, this is Fern Gully Dam, or let's say it was. I'd be stood on about 3 meters of water here normally, but I'm stood on 3 meters of stone and dirt that's come down from the spillway up there, and it stopped here. So at least it stopped here. Interestingly, the flow is still going down the swale and over the level sill, and it didn't quite go over the wall, and it actually forced its own level sill spillway, like an emergency spillway, emerged right here. So the emergency spillway, which we didn't install, but it pushed itself over here and went down through a beautiful set of rocks there that stopped any erosion. So there was quite a clear run of water here. It kind of self-indicated what needs to be installed, an emergency spillway right there. The other end, it's still performing. The swale is still holding water. So let's see if we can walk on through over the rocky sections here. So if I suddenly disappear, send out for the rescue squad. So we're going over the rockier bits, and we're almost walking on water here. Hopefully we don't suddenly sink. Our flow of water is still coming through. Instead of through a dam to a swale, it's almost like a little stream going to the level sill spillway. So I think we've got to jump over this section in here. So here's our swale, or well, our silted swale connected to what was our dam, Fern Gully. But the swale flow is still working perfectly. It's overflowing here. That big dribbler pipe's taking some pressure, and it's hit the level sill here. So this level sill has completely pacified the water, spread it out, and then continued to spread it. Come through the fence here, and it's spread out and out and out and pacified more and more as it's gone downhill. That's the story all the way through our water harvesting earthworks. So here in our bottom floodplain paddock, we've had a massive deposit of topsoil. It's not our topsoil, it's come from up in the catchment, but in some places it's between 1 and 2 meters deep. That's hundreds of years of soil. It would take you quite a few hundred years to build that much soil on a property, and it's all deposited in one day. It's always quite dangerous to walk through here. It's very soft at the moment. But this will be a massive deposit for us, a benefit to us. Many farms have only had a few inches of topsoil. We've had a lot because we have a lot of treed gullies. We planted a lot of trees along our contour water harvesting systems. That slows down the flood water and allows it to drop the material it's carrying. As soon as you drop the velocity in a moving fluid, it drops the volume of material it's carrying. So this is a massive deposition. And it's really where the problem becomes a solution for actual soil fertility, because we've gained so much soil. With it has come enormous logs. So if we turn around here, you can see the volume of material that floats in the flood all the way through here. Big rainforest logs arrived here. And if we look up, you can see the flood deposit up in the tree. So that doesn't lie. That's how high the flood was above us. That's the volume of water that was heading towards Lismore from these top catchments. Here's one of our huge clumping bamboos. It's literally been uprooted some 500 meters upstream and now deposited here on one of our farm tracks. I don't think we're going to move it easy, but we cut the top off here and cut out the root system. It's quite a valuable nursery crop, but it just shows you the absolute power of the water coming downstream. So this is Campers Lagoon. We're on the other side of Zaytuna Farm now, and this catchment is about the biggest and the strongest. But this dam has a level sill on the swale just here with a swivel pipe further down, and an emergency spillway, also a level sill on a swale on this side, and multiple swivel pipes further down the swale. So as soon as this spillway, the normal spillway, gets up to a certain height, the emergency kicks in and takes all the flow. It performed perfectly because we had enough overflow infrastructure. Now, without this dam being here, there would be a massive erosion gully coming straight through the middle of the valley here. But instead, there's a nice passive body of water and everything flowed very nicely. So, what's to come next? The world is continuously changing. These radical events are going to become more extreme and more frequent. Every 10 to 20 years, we can't repair as quick as the event increases. A few years ago, not that long ago, this whole landscape was burning just a few kilometers from here. We have to maintain drought-proofing earthworks to buffer those extreme events, and we have to handle these extreme events when we get these massive flows of water that are so destructive. That we can do. We can do it with design, and design is what we're all about.